On November 24th, 2024, something truly shocking occurred during T.D. Jake's sermon. Mid-speech, his voice abruptly cut off. His eyes rolled back, his skin turned an eerie gray, and 2.3 million viewers watched in disbelief as he collapsed right before their eyes. But the real shock came when doctors uncovered the cause of this sudden, terrifying incident. Now, as a $100 million lawsuit looms over his empire and dark rumors swirl across social media, the untold story of T.D. Jake's battle for survival and the fight to preserve his reputation is beginning to surface. Born on June 9, 1957, in South Charleston, West Virginia, Thomas Dexter Jakes grew up in a humble, close-knit family. His parents, Ernest and Odith Jakes, raised him with a strong work ethic and a deep sense of community. T.D. was the youngest of 3 children. His father, a dedicated entrepreneur, ran a cleaning business that employed over 40 people, servicing significant locations like the West Virginia State Capitol Building and local grocery stores. His mother, a teacher, imparted essential life skills to her children, like cooking and sewing, skills that would later prove invaluable to T.D. in both his personal and professional life. As a child, T.D. lived in the segregated community of Vandalia, West Virginia, during the volatile 1960s, a time when racial tensions were at a peak. Despite the difficulties surrounding him, the Jakes' home was always full of love, learning, and activity. But things changed when T.D. was only 10 years old. His father fell gravely ill, diagnosed with kidney disease, and for the next 6 years, T.D. became his primary caregiver. This challenging period would shape him, teaching him profound lessons about suffering, compassion, and resilience. During these trying years, T.D. sought solace in his faith. He would often retreat to his room, where he would preach to his stuffed animals, imagining himself as a preacher before a vast congregation. His passion for God was evident even at a young age, earning him the affectionate nickname Bible Boy from his family. A particular experience with his father during a trip when T.D. learned the earth is always in motion, even when it feels still, sparked a deep reflection on how God works in mysterious ways, even when we don't see it. However, his path wasn't always straightforward. As a teenager, T.D. went through a phase where he distanced himself from his faith. One night at a party, he found himself singing gospel songs, and an overwhelming sense of the Holy Spirit filled him so powerfully that he ran out of the house in awe. That experience marked a turning point, and he was drawn back to God with a renewed sense of purpose. At just 16, T.D.'s life was again turned upside down with the death of his father. The loss, combined with the anger and confusion of questioning God's plan, was devastating for him. During this time, his mother also fell ill, and T.D. had to drop out of high school just 2 months before graduation to care for her. Though the struggles were immense, T.D. kept pushing forward. These hardships, though painful, made him more empathetic and deeply connected to others suffering. It was during these tough years that he felt a calling to become a preacher, even though he still had doubts and was grieving the loss of his father. At the age of 23, T.D. took the bold step of starting his first church, a small storefront in Montgomery, West Virginia, with just 10 members. He called it the Greater Emmanuel Temple of Faith. Life wasn't easy. T.D. worked at a chemical plant during the day to support his growing family and church, while his wife, Sarita, worked as a DJ at a Christian radio station to help make ends meet. Despite limited resources, T.D. found creative ways to make it work, playing the piano for the church choir himself, and joking that on Easter Sunday, if they counted everyone, including pregnant women and those who had passed, they might have 40 attendees. Yet, T.D.'s way of preaching, touching on real-life struggles and offering people hope, resonated deeply with those who came. The congregation began to grow, and by 1983, T.D. held his first conference, drawing 80 attendees, a humble start to what would become a global ministry. As his powerful messages of hope and healing continued to reach people, particularly women, who needed encouragement, the church's reach grew exponentially. In 1996, T.D. made a major move to Dallas, Texas, bringing 50 families from a small West Virginia church with him. On July 28th, he held the first service at the Potter's house in a rented space, drawing only 300 attendees. Yet, within 6 months, the congregation swelled to 5,000. By December, TD had purchased a 28-acre property for $3.2 million, previously owned by another preacher. This land would become the permanent home of the Potter's house. The church's first service on the new property was an unforgettable moment, with over 8,000 people in attendance, filling every seat and standing in overflow areas. The church's growth was astounding, and by 1999, TD had to expand yet again, constructing a massive 191,000 square foot sanctuary at a cost of $45 million. It opened in July 2000, with space for 8,000 people, and the debt was paid off in just 4 years, a testament to the church's rapidly expanding influence. By the end of 1997, the Potter's House had already grown to 10,000 members, and by 2005, that number passed 30,000, making it one of the largest churches in America. The church's influence reached far beyond Dallas, with campuses opening in other cities, including Fort Worth and Denver. On New Year's Eve in 2010, the Potter's House broadcast its service to multiple locations, reaching over 40,000 people in a single night. By 2020, the church had campuses across the country, with an average weekly attendance of 32,000. But T.D. Jakes wasn't just building a church. He expanded his reach through his writing, becoming a best-selling author. His first book, Woman, Thou Art Loosed, was published in 1993 and sold over 3 million copies, remaining on bestseller lists for an impressive 75 weeks. He went on to publish more than 40 books, selling over 20 million copies, with several of them hitting #1 spots on major bestseller lists. In 2004, he turned Woman, Thou Art Loosed into a film, which grossed $6.8 million at the box office. His production company, TJ Enterprises, also created successful films like Jumping the Broom and Heaven is for Real, which collectively earned more than $100 million globally. T.D. Jakes didn't stop at writing and filmmaking. His television program The Potter's Touch reached millions worldwide, and in 2016, he launched his own talk show. That same year, he partnered with Amazon to create a streaming channel dedicated to his sermons and other content. Throughout his career, Jakes has built powerful organizations such as T.D. Jakes Ministries, which began in 1995. His events, such as Woman, Thou Art Loosed, and MegaFest, have drawn hundreds of thousands of attendees, boosting local economies and making a significant impact on communities. His business empire expanded to include various sectors, from real estate to entertainment, and in 2022, TDJ Enterprises announced a $150 million real estate project in Atlanta. By 2023, his company was generating over $500 million annually. T.D. Jakes' influence extends beyond the church and the business world. Time magazine named him America's Best Preacher in 2001, a title that came just after the 9/11 attacks, when the nation needed hope. His TV audience grew, and his books continued to sell. As a spiritual leader, Jakes became an advisor to U.S. presidents, including George W. Bush, Barack Obama, and Donald Trump. He played a historic role in Obama's inauguration in 2009, leading the morning prayer service for the first Black president of the United States. Jakes' reach is global, with connections to world leaders such as Ghana's President Rawlings, Nigeria's President Obasanjo, and King Abdullah of Jordan. His influence even extends into social issues, where he's used his platform to discuss topics like racial inequality and criminal justice reform. In 2015, he hosted a live forum streamed to over 1 million viewers, where he discussed these issues with politicians and journalists. Beyond faith-based work, Jakes has been a successful entrepreneur in Hollywood, with his films grossing more than $500 million worldwide. His hit movie Jumping the Broom was the top comedy of 2011, and Miracles from Heaven in 2016, starring Jennifer Garner, proved the commercial viability of faith-based cinema. But T.D. Jakes isn't just about success and fame, he's also about giving back. In 2020, he founded the T.D. Jakes Foundation with the goal of raising $100 million to assist underserved communities. By 2024, The foundation had already allocated $9 million to 16 organizations, helping people with housing, financial education, and job training. Jakes also launched initiatives like the Texas Offenders Re-Entry Initiative, which has supported over 42,000 former inmates in rebuilding their lives. Yet, despite all his accomplishments, T.D. Jakes' beliefs have been under scrutiny, particularly regarding his views on the Trinity. In the late 1990s, his use of the term manifestations instead of persons to describe the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit raised eyebrows. Some theologians speculated that this suggested he adhered to modalism, a belief that God is one person who appears in three forms. The controversy intensified in 2012 when Jakes appeared at the Elephant Room Conference, where he muddied the waters by saying he preferred the term manifestations, while affirming the traditional view of three distinct persons. This sparked ongoing debates within the Christian community about his theology. Despite the controversies and challenges, T.D. Jakes has persevered, leading his ministry, expanding his business empire, and leaving a lasting impact on millions of lives. The road to his current empire has been far from easy, and the obstacles he faces today are just another chapter in the extraordinary story of his life. Bishop T.D. Jakes has faced significant criticism throughout his career, particularly from traditional churches, due to his teachings and preaching style. One major source of controversy has been his connection to the Word of Faith movement, which many critics argue promotes a distorted gospel. In 2001, during a fundraiser on the Trinity Broadcasting Network, Jakes made a statement that would stir the pot for years to come. He told viewers that giving money to the church would result in blessings, such as wealth, good relationships, and success. This message directly clashed with the traditional Christian view that giving should be an act of faith, not a way to receive material rewards in return. His critics believed this message fed into the idea that faith could be a means to personal gain, rather than an act of devotion. The controversy didn't stop there. In 2015, Jakes caused another stir by boldly proclaiming that if you obey God, you would never be broke again. Many critics saw this as an oversimplified and potentially dangerous message about money, one that could mislead people into thinking that financial struggles were simply a matter of lacking faith. Jakes' sermons, which often blend motivational speaking with Bible teachings, left some feeling that he was veering away from biblical preaching and into self-help territory. One shocking moment came in 2007 when, during a live sermon, Jakes spoke in tongues without offering an interpretation, an act that some believe contradicts the biblical guidelines for speaking in tongues. Furthermore, Jakes has faced accusations of not addressing sin and repentance enough in his sermons. His 2019 interview, where he criticized white evangelicals for focusing too heavily on issues like abortion and same-sex marriage, but not enough on social justice, caused an uproar. Many conservative leaders began labeling him as a false teacher, and his views on political and social issues increasingly set him at odds with the evangelical establishment. A major controversy surrounding Jakes is his connection to the prosperity gospel, a doctrine that suggests that faith and obedience to God can result in wealth, success, and health. His lavish lifestyle has only fueled these accusations. In 2005, reports revealed that Jakes lived in a $1.7 million mansion, drove expensive cars, and wore designer suits, choices that critics pointed to as being in stark contrast to the simple, humble life that Jesus advocated. One of Jakes' more infamous statements came in a sermon where he declared that spiritual prosperity must come before financial prosperity, which many believe falsely connects spiritual maturity with wealth. In 2017, Jakes tweeted a message that promised, "If you obey God, you will never be broke another day in your life." This only added to the accusations that he was a prosperity preacher, as rumors spread of church members emptying their savings to support his ministry, only to struggle financially afterward. Despite his denial of being a prosperity preacher, Jakes' actions, such as launching a program aimed at training 1,000 millionaires, left many questioning his true motives. While he claims that his teachings are designed to help people break free from poverty, critics argue that his message serves his own interests more than it does his followers, prompting many to view his teachings as a distortion of the gospel. Jakes' views on LGBTQ+ issues have also evolved over the years, drawing both praise and backlash. In the early 2000s, He described homosexuality as a form of brokenness, often citing factors such as bad parenting or abuse as causes. However, in 2015, he shocked many when he stated that the Black church and the LGBTQ+ community could coexist, and that every church and gay person was different. This prompted speculation that he was supporting same-sex relationships, and the backlash was so strong that Jakes quickly clarified that he did not support same-sex marriage. His criticism of white evangelicals in 2021 for focusing too much on issues like same-sex marriage, while ignoring poverty and racial justice, further alienated him from conservative circles, but earned praise from progressives and LGBTQ+ advocates who saw it as a sign of Jakes becoming more inclusive. In 2022, Jake's sermon addressing the evolution of traditional gender roles in modern times stirred further debate, signaling his willingness to challenge long-held beliefs within the church. In March 2024, T.D. Jakes found himself embroiled in an unexpected and highly publicized lawsuit involving music mogul Diddy Combs. The lawsuit, filed by record producer Rodney Lil Rod Jones, accused Combs of numerous crimes, but what truly caught everyone off guard was a claim made on page 47 of the legal document. It stated that Combs had planned to use his connection with Jakes to repair his public image following allegations of abuse made by his ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. This revelation stunned both the entertainment and religious communities and raised questions about the nature of Jakes' relationship with Combs. Although the lawsuit did not clarify how Jakes was involved, speculation grew, as Jakes had previously collaborated with Combs' media platform, Revolt TV, in 2021 and attended Combs' lavish birthday party in 2022. The mention of Jakes in this lawsuit fueled rumors that Combs might be using Jakes' influence as a respected pastor to escape the public backlash surrounding the abuse accusations. While there was no direct evidence supporting these claims, the rumors spread quickly, causing significant damage to Jakes' reputation. In response, Jakes filed lawsuits in May 2024 against YouTube channels spreading false claims, demanding $50 million from each channel and calling on the platform to reveal the identities of those behind the defamatory content. He believed these channels were using artificial intelligence to create fake stories about him. In an effort to clear his name, Jakes also formed an independent board of trusted leaders and legal experts to investigate the situation. The story took an even more dramatic turn during one of Jakes' sermons in 2024. While speaking to his congregation, his voice suddenly faltered, and the microphone dropped from his hand, sending a loud sound through the church. Within moments, Jakes began shaking uncontrollably, his body trembling and his skin turning gray. His eyes rolled back, and the congregation watched in shock as the church's emergency response team quickly sprang into action. Marcus Washington, the head of security, activated the church's emergency plan, Operation Shepherd staff, and within minutes, the sanctuary, filled with 3,000 people, was cleared to make room for paramedics. Sarah Martinez, an usher, grabbed the church's AED and reached Jakes within 30 seconds, and paramedics arrived just 4 minutes later, stabilizing him with emergency medication and Infor. Remarkably, 24 days after the incident, Jakes made his first public appearance in a video call to his congregation, where he shared a brief but powerful message of hope. His recovery story raised over $4 million for the hospital's cardiac unit as people rallied around him. His commitment to healing, which included hours of physical therapy and advanced oxygen treatments, was a testament to his resilience. The moment he addressed his congregation from his hospital bed touched millions, as his words inspired hope and strength, reminding everyone that no matter how severe the trial, it's possible to rise again. T.D. Jakes' personal journey began in 1982 when he met Sarita Jameson in a small church in West Virginia. At just 23 years old, Jakes was a guest preacher, and Sarita, 26, was immediately drawn to him. Their connection was undeniable, and within 6 months, they were married on May 29, 1982. Their life together was filled with love and growth, and they became the proud parents of 6 children. Their son, Thomas Jr., born in 1994, later carved out a name for himself as a music producer and media personality. In 1998, Jakes moved his ministry to Dallas, Texas, a transition that was challenging for the entire family. The adjustment wasn't easy, but through it all, Sarita and the children stood by him, becoming an integral part of his mission. By 2024, Jakes and Sarita celebrated 42 years of marriage, a milestone that reflects their deep bond. Jakes often refers to Sarita as his ride-or-die soulmate, and their love has remained strong despite the ups and downs of their journey. Jakes has admitted that his demanding schedule sometimes caused him to miss important family moments, including not being present for his son's high school graduation, a regret he openly acknowledged in an interview. However, Jakes found ways to involve his family in his work. Sarita became a leader at the Potter's House, overseeing the women's ministry, while their daughter, Sarah, followed in her father's footsteps and became a pastor and writer. Throughout their 42 years together, life has tested the Jakes family's strength in many ways. In 2012, Sarita underwent surgery for a herniated disc, and once again, Jakes was there, providing unwavering support as his wife recovered. Through it all, both the triumphs and the trials, the Jakes family has remained united, standing as a testament to love, faith, and resilience.